Welcome back. What I'm going to talk about now in this video, before we actually get to the rules about movement, shooting, and all that, you need to understand how the forces are created in the game. So if you wanted a unit of tanks, how do you get that? If you want a unit of infantry, how do you get that? Because knowing those rules and how those units are set up will help you better understand about when we get to movement and shooting and assaulting. So before we get that, we have to set up our army. And I need you to understand how they are configured. So that's what we're going to do in this video. So Flames of War offers many different force books. So like there's that one, and it has the Band of Brothers in it, 101st Airborne. There's that one. That one's about the Normandy landing, and these are the German forces available. And you really see this one is really thick. There's a lot of forces in that one. The counter book for the Allies would be the Overlord book, and that one is thick too. Blood, Guts, and Glory is Patton's push through Europe from September. See, it says right here, September 1944 to January 1945. These are the tank battles in Lorraine. Devil's Charge. This is about German offensive. Battle of the Bulge, which actually, this one is the Battle of the Bulge also. But specifically, it's bringing out the 101st Airborne. Well, there's other airbornes in there too. And another one I've got is Bridget Remagen. And why I really wanted that book was it finally brought the Pershing for the USA into the game. And this is the Battle for the Rhine from February to April 1945. So when you're deciding what force you want to play for this game, you have to figure out what period do you want to play. And Flames of War is broken up basically into 3 periods. There's early war, mid-war, late war. Mid-war covers from 1939 to 1941. Mid-war is 1942 to 1943. And late war is 1944 to 1945. So really, if you make an early war force, you're not going to be able to use it in late war. They just, how armor and all that works is just, it's not going to be compatible. So you have to figure, do you want to play early, do you want to play mid, or do you want to play late? And most stuff I'm going to talk about is late war because that's what I play. And every year around October, the Flames of War company comes up with a new total that is allowed for tournaments. And early war, it's 1,003. Oh, this is for 2014-2015 season. So early war, it's 1,390 points. Mid-war, 1,710 points. And late war, 1,900 points. So you kind of get an idea now how many points you generally are going to play in a game for that year. Now you can play more, you can play less. It's up, what you want to do. But if you're going to the tournament scene, this is normally what they're going to reference or use. Now, those books I showed, yeah, you can buy these books if you want to. Also, on flamesofwar.com, they'll have some intelligence briefings there that are free. So they'll have some army lists there that are free. There used to be easyarmy.com. It's kind of an army builder. And it was online, and you can buy the book really cheap. And you wouldn't get the book, but you'd get every army list from that book. And now it's switched over to Forces of War. And it's basically a Flames of War company builder. And I'll put a link here. It should be up on you should be able to see it right now to go check that out. And again, if you wanted this Overlord book, you would go there, pay the fee for the army lists in the book. Now this one's not available. They're just starting it up. Easy Army would have this, but the other one is just starting up, so not every book is going to be there. And Easy Army is going to be taken down, so you'd only have for a limited time if you want to do that. But you would go there. Oh, I want this book. You can buy all the armies in that book for a price, or you go, you know, I only want this list, and you could pay for that list only, and it's a lot cheaper. That's all you want to do on that one. One of the ways you could tell what you want to do, or which book to get, is right there. On the side of the books, or maybe on the front, and on the models too, they'll have this. E for early, M for mid, L for late. So this has an L on it, so this is used for late war. And it says right there, 1944 to 1945. So if I look at one of my other books, like the Bridget Remagen, it's an L, but it's a little dinky L, but it's there. So that's how you know, could I use this book? If I'm playing early war, can I use this book? In this case, no. Mid-war, no. Late war, yes. Now another thing I need to go through is there are skill levels for your units. And I'm going to go through this when we just look at a list to look, you know, possibly, this is possibly what I want to run. The skill level of the unit is basically their training and their battlefield experience. And it's going to be from lowest to best. So the worst is coming up and the best is later. So conscript, trained, veteran. That's it. So conscript, trained, or veteran. You need to take a skill test, you're going to use their rating. Conscript is a 5+, trained is 4, veterans 3+. So between this and the next thing I'm going to talk about, it's 3, 4, 5. 3's the best, 5's the worst. So 3's the best, that's going to be veteran. 5's the worst, that's going to be conscript. And basically, if you're asked to make a test, you roll 1d6, and you need to make that number or higher to be successful. So if veteran, you just need a 3 or higher. If you're conscript, you're going to need a 5 or higher. Veteran, 4 or higher. And basically, the skill level test, the skill test, is used to see if you are hit, not if you hit somebody else, but are your units hit. And we'll go more into that with the shooting, how come it's this way. But are your units hit? If your tank's bogged down, can they get unbogged? It's easier for your artillery to hit the enemy without a better level. Crossing rivers, if you're fighting in an assault, you're able to take the enemy out better because you're better trained. And also what's called digging in, or you're creating foxholes and stuff like that. Or your guys, conscript's going to have a harder time doing that than your veterans will. Veterans, they're going to get right onto it. The other thing I want to talk about is called motivation level of your unit. And this measures the courage and determination of your company, or the men in your company. And again, it's a 3, 4, 5. 5 being worse, 3 being the best, and you want to roll that equal to that or higher. And so the worst is reluctant. Then you go to confident, then fearless. So reluctance a 5+, confidence a 4+, fearless is a 3+. There's that 3, 4, 5 again. And this is called a motivation test. So if you're asked to make a motivation test, you roll a 1d6 and you roll equal to or higher than their rating, 3, 4, or 5. And basically motivation tests are used to become unpinned, so the unit's pinned down, make a motivation test, they're unpinned. Remount a bailed out vehicle. And when we get to assault, you'll understand more how this works, but to continue attacking in an assault. Your fearless guys are going to be more gung-ho to keep going than your reluctant guys. So I needed to cover that, so when we get to it, you're going to see more about what that's about. Next, you need to kind of pick a force. Now, one of the first things you need to do is, what country do you want to play? The main players in the game are USA, Germany, Soviet Union, and British. Those are your main ones. However, there are other countries you could play. Finland, these are just a few examples, there's a lot of them. Finland, Poland, Romania, Italy, France, any of those, they are available. After that, you have to figure out what type of company do you want to play. There's 4 different types of companies. There's fortified company, infantry company, mechanized company, tank company. Now your fortified company is going to be using bunkers, minefields, trenches, barbed wire. They're going to be sitting in a fortified position, enemy comes at them. Infantry company is pretty much what it sounds like. It's just a lot of men. Mechanized company, they're very mobile. They'll use half tracks and stuff like that, but their armor's not as thick. But they're very mobile and very quick. Your tank company, just like it sounds, it's going to be a lot of tanks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a book here and kind of show you how you would pick your force. So we're going to look at Devil's Charge here. And one of the nice things about these books is they'll give a history about, like this Bloody Bucket, the 28th Infantry Division, and any special rules they have. And then voila, here they are. So this is the 28th Infantry Division. And this is a fortified company. So again, this is the one that's going to be using barbed wire, trenches, minefields, and stuff like that. They're not going to be moving a lot on the battlefield. They're going to be just sitting still. The enemy comes at them. So this kind of shows you how the force is set up. Over here is the rating. Reluctant, so 5+ on any of those tests. But they're veterans, so that's a 3+. So they're very well trained, but they're not as brave. So this is a fortified company. There's some tanks in there. You can take tanks. And when we get to one of the later forces, I'll discuss how this is built. So this is a fortified company. And that's their training level. Another type of company, and this is about the Indian Heads, the 2nd Infantry Division. Again, it's given history about the battles they were in at this time, what was going on, any special rules they may have. Here's the 99th, the 99th there. So here's some more about them. Their special rules. Oh, there's Audie Murphy. So if you're going to take a list here, Audie Murphy's available, and it'll tell you where he's available up here. He's available to these certain companies and how much he costs extra to bring in. But here's his special rules and what he does. And voila, here's an infantry company. As you see, it looks similar, but instead of having all the bunkers and stuff like that, you got these men. Now let's see about their training, which is over here. Oh, they're confident veterans. 2nd Infantry Division. The 99th is confident trained. So there's that 4+, 3+, 4+, 4+. So that is the infantry. And this is the one we're going to look at when we build an army. Okay, next is I want to go over tank company. So there wasn't a tank company in that one, but I'm going to go to Bridge of Remagen. And there's the tank company. And notice the men are gone, the bunkers are gone, it's tanks. This is going to be your main force right here, is tanks. If you're running the 3rd, they're reluctant veterans. If you're running the 9th, they're confident veterans. 5+, 3+, 4+, 3+. And you're like, well, why don't I just take that? Well, if you look here, if you go with a higher rating, they cost more. The lower rating guys are going to cost less. So if you want 2 in 4A3 late Shermans, 190 points for the reluctant. If you want to go confident, 205. So that's going to be different. And these guys are confident veteran, period. So they got one price. So you got to decide, do you want to go fortified, infantry, or mechanized, which I did have a mechanized for you. There it is. I'm sorry I missed a mechanized. There's a mechanized. And there's going to be 2 different ratings, so they're going to be 2 different costs. But you see, wait, what is that thing? Well, that's over here. And that is an M8 armored car. So you get 2 of those. Notice it's not men, it's not tanks. It's M8 armored cars, so they're going to be zooming around. Your main units you're going to buy is an M8 armored car with a mortar jeep and a recon jeep. Now, do you want 1, 2, or 3 of those? And I'll go over that, but you kind of see how they're built differently. However, you can still take tanks. You can still take artillery. You can still bring an airplane. It's just that this part here, with the fortified, infantry, mechanized, or tank company, it's going to dictate what your HQ is and what your troop choice mainly is. Another thing I'm going to discuss before I go to getting the forces is that depending upon what you take also dictates whether you will be attacker or defender. So on missions, it'll say like attacker has first turn or defender has first turn, and you're like, well, who's attacker or defender? Well, it's kind of a hierarchy. Fortified companies are fortified. They're sitting there waiting, so they are always defending. Infantry companies are brought in. They're the next level up. So if it's a fortified company versus an infantry company will be attacking. Next up from that is mechanized. If it's fortified versus mechanized is going to attack. If it's mechanized versus an infantry, mechanized is going to attack. The last one is tank company. They are always considered attackers, unless some rule says otherwise. So tank company versus fortified, tank company attacks. Tank company versus infantry, tank company is the attacker. Tank company versus mechanized, tank company is the attacker. So that's how you tell. That's also something to keep in mind. If you want to be the main attacker, one way to guarantee that, unless you got a special rule with your people, is you take a tank company. Unless you run into another tank company, then it's a roll-off. If you're not worried about that, you can take anything you want. So that's just something to keep in mind also. Now, when you are trying to pick your stuff out, like let's go back to our infantry company. Here we go. This rifle company. You're like, okay, looking at this, and I hope it shows up very well. These are all kind of light gray. These are black. These 3 right here. And you'll see that on most lists, it's going to be these first 3. They're going to be black. You have to take those. So you have to take an HQ, you have to take a rifle platoon, and you have to take a rifle platoon. And this says page 49. Which is right over here. Here's 49. It tells you what you're going to get. So you're going to get a company command carbine team and a second in command carbine team. And depending upon what rating you want, and you can't switch. I can't go, oh, I'm going to do this for HQ, but I'm going to do this rating for the platoon. Once you choose 2nd Infantry Division, that's what you have to choose through the whole list. If you choose the 9th Infantry Division, that's what you have to choose. So you kind of have to make that decision when you first start building your army. Do I want the better trained and all that, or better trained in all that, but it'll cost me more. Or do I want the less trained, but I'm going to get more stuff? And it's what do you feel comfortable with? Okay, so this costs, let's do 2nd Infantry Division, the Indian Heads. So it costs 15 points for those two. You have to take 2 of these. So, do you want 2 rifle squads? And let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. There we go. So 2 rifle squads, 145 points. And this is a rifle squad? That's a rifle squad. So it's not going to include that one. And you can see how many men you're going to get. You're going to get a command rifle team, a bazooka team, 3 men, 3 rifles, 3 rifle stands. So you're going to have basically 8 stands in this unit. However, if you go 3 rifle squads for 200 points, you're going to get this one in addition. So you have to choose this, and you have to choose 2 of these. So you can go, oh, I want 2 rifle squads for this one, and 2 rifle squads for that one. Boom, boom, done. You can also go, I want 3 rifle squads, 3 rifle squads. You could go, I want 3 too. They don't, unless the rule says otherwise, they don't have to be the same, but they do have to be from the same unit. That's like up here. So remember, if we was playing late war, we have 1,900 points. Well, this comes out at 1,900. This is going to come out at 1,900. And then you're going, well, what can these guys do? Well, we can do some options here. So replace command rifle, replace command rifle team with command submachine gun for plus 5 points. So instead of being a carbine team, now it's a submachine gun team. Or replace up to 1 team in any or all rifle squads. So depending upon how many you bought. So this is a rifle squad, so there's 3 rifle squads here with a bazooka. So you could take out this rifleman and replace him with bazooka. And just to let you know, if you don't want to shoot the bazooka, they can shoot his rifleman. So it's kind of a combo with that. You not only get a rifleman, you get a bazooka, but it's all in one stand. And this see this symbol? This means that only the Indian heads can do this. Replace all rifle teams. Each one of these is a team. Replace all rifle teams with submachine guns. So instead of being rifle teams, now they're submachine gun teams. And it's going to cost 5 extra points per. So if you do 2 units, it's going to be 30 points. If you do 3 units, that's 45 points more. So now they shot up to 245. Plus then if you do the bazookas, that's going to be that much more points. You know, so you got some flexibility. The other thing is, all the rest of these, I'm going to zoom out so you can see kind of the whole picture here. What I'm talking about. All the rest of these are options. What do you want to take? Do you want more men? Take more men. There's more men. Infantry. Do you want some machine guns? Well, look at this. You have 2 choices of machine guns. You could take both of them if you want to. Here's some artillery, so it looks like you can have some mortars. Do you want some anti-tank? Do you want some reconnaissance vehicles? Some artillery, some more artillery, reconnaissance, some more infantry. Here's some tanks, armor. Some more artillery, anti-aircraft, aircraft. So out of your 1,900 points, beyond what you have to buy here, you have to buy these. What do you want to spend your points on? Yeah, I want an aircraft. Well, what aircraft do you want? Air observation post, just kind of let you know that's an aerial observer that can go around and spot things for your artillery. Or there's air support, which is an aircraft that comes in and attacks. Now, if they have multiple things, like let me zoom into one here. You kind of see what I'm talking about. See how this one has 3 listings here? You can't take this, this, and that. If you take this, these are gone. If you take this middle one, these are gone. So you can only take one of those options. But you have 3 options out of this anti-aircraft to choose from. That's pretty good. You're not stuck with just one option with that unit. Same with the tanks. Looks like you're just going to get 2 choices. Tanks out of the rifle company. an infantry company. Not unexpected, because you're not taking a tank company. This is support. So you're not going to get as many tanks. If you take a tank company, you're not going to get as many infantry. You'll get some because there's going to be that choice. So again, if you look, this tank company, 1, 2, 3, 4 options. But you can only take one if you want to take a tank company. Then you got this tank company, which only has 3. Then it tells you what page to go to. Like, let's say we want to go, I want to go to this tank platoon. Okay, it says page 668. So we're going to flip, and it's called a tank platoon. Remember, you got to remember the name because it's going to be easier to find it. Because there may be multiple things on that page. And voila. Page 68, tank platoon. Now, what's nice about this isn't Indian heads. This is support, so we got a choice here. Sometimes you don't have choice. Sometimes this is what they are. So do you want confident veteran or confident train? Veteran, so you see it. Let me see if I can get it a little bit easier. This says V, this says T. The only difference between these two is veteran, V, trained, T. So if you want to go veteran, if you want to go trained, and again, the veteran's going to cost more. So, do you want 3 M4A1 Shermans, 4 or 5? You're going to get a command, and then it's going to be kind of, the rest are going to be regular. So, one of those 3 is a command Sherman, which I talked about command units or command teams in that first video about teams. Or, do you want to take the 76mm gun, which has a lot more punch to it. It's able to punch through armor a lot easier than the smaller barreled gun, the shorter barreled gun. It's got a lot more punch, so it's able to punch through. But look at the point difference. 250 for regular Sherman compared to this one's got a lot more punch, 415. But it does have more punch. And fit any and all with improvised armor plus 5 per tank. And I'm not going to go into the rule about that, but this is the options you can add to the unit. But a lot of times they cost more points. And remember, you only have that 1,900 points to buy your whole army with. So if you buy a few things with a whole bunch of options, you're not going to have much on the battlefield. Now you're probably wondering, okay, yeah, I want the tank, stuff like that. Yeah, I want some more men. So you bought your points. You spent your 1,950 points. You're like, well, what can these guys do? Well, in the back of the book, they're going to list light tanks. So here's the Stuart and its stat line, which I did in the first video about teams. Their armor, what they shoot, how well they shoot, you know, their punch through armor, their anti-tank, their firepower, what special abilities or weapons they'll have. Tanks, so this is where your Shermans are going to be. And they'll have one for, in this book, Germany will have one too. So they see Germany has their own. Then you got tank destroyers, support weapons, artillery, self-propelled, so that's like your priest I showed in that first video. Anti-aircraft, reconnaissance. Here's your vehicle machine gun. So if they have a vehicle machine gun, here's what it does. If they have a 50 caliber vehicle machine gun, here's what it's going to do. Gun teams, I talked about that in that first video. What are gun teams? So here we go. We got 50 caliber machine gun, light machine gun, heavy, mortars. Going through all these pack. Look at this. USA can take some 8.8 centimeter pack. They stole them for the Germans. There's that long tom. Fortification. Here they talk about the bunkers and what it's got. Your infantry teams, like here's a rifle team. What it can do. If you have the submachine gun, remember you can switch some submachine gun. Well, now you find out, well, what is about the submachine gun? Well, here's about the submachine gun. Transport teams. Remember I talked about transport teams in that first video, so those aren't on the table all the time, so these aren't going to be used that much. But if you're wondering what they can do, here it is. And then what the aircraft. Here's your choice of aircraft and what it can do. So that's basically it for how you kind of choose your list, because I needed you to understand that when you buy an infantry company, you're going to get your infantry. Let me go back to them. Or your rifle, your rifle company, your infantry. But I want you to understand that when you buy this, you're getting this. When you buy that tank company, you're getting, like this one, you're getting that. So when we talk about these units and they have to stay together and all that, you're like, well, who's with who? This way you kind of understand, where did that come from? Like this. If we bought this, here's these units. Bought this, here's these units. Here's that mortars. Here's the machine guns. So if I was demonstrating about moving this machine gun unit, you'll understand that where I got these extra guys from. Where does bazooka come from that went with them? Well, it's something we could have bought. Well, where do these Jeeps come from? Well, it's something we could add to them. So when we get to the video about moving, shooting, and all this, now you understand where these units came from and how they were configured. And also, when we have to do a motivation test or a skill test, you understand where that came from. So that's all this video was really about, was just trying to put this together. Kind of give you an overview of building a force. Think about early, mid, late war. There's some points there for tournament scene that a lot of people use. If they're doing 1900 points this year in late war, a lot of people will be doing 1900 points. Where you can get the resources, you could buy the books. You can go, they have some free ones for their PDFs, free some. And also, there's that website that it's kind of the army builder for Flames of War. And they got, I think, 4 books right now, but they're working to get the others added. And originally there was easyarmy.com, but that's going to be shut down after a while. I think that's pretty much it for this video. This is just more to get you to understand, again, how these forces are made up, so when we get in the ratings for these tests they're going to have to do with the motivation skill test and where that all came from. So, until next time, have a good game.